The combined agenda and regular meeting of the Monroe Township Council is called to order for this date of June 27, 2022. Would we all please rise to honor our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilman Charles DePiero.
Here.
Councilwoman Elizabeth Schneider.
Here.
Councilwoman Rupa P. Siegel.
Here.
Council Vice President Terrence Van Zora.
Here.
Council President Miriam Cohen.
Present. Would the clerk please read the Sunshine Law into the record?
In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, it is hereby announced and shall be entered into the minutes of this meeting that adequate notice has been provided by the following. 1. Posted on the bulletin boards within the municipal building on December 29, 2021, and remains posted at that location for public inspection. 2. Printed in the Home News Tribune and noticed to the Cranberry Press on December 30th, 2021. 3. Posted on the Monroe Township website. And 4. Sent to those individuals who have requested personal notice. In accordance with Chapter 3, Section 17 of the Monroe Township Code, public comment shall be limited to 5 minutes unless further time is granted by the Council President.
Item 5, ordinances for the second reading at the June 27th, 2022 regular meeting.
Ordinance 06-2022-012, ordinance approving the traffic signal improvements for Docks Corner Road and Cranberry South River Road. Ordinance 06-2022-013, ordinance amending the Township Code to repeal in its entirety Chapter 44, entitled Flood Damage Prevention, and Chapter 108-5.20, entitled Floodplains Management, and replace with new Chapter 44, entitled Flood Damage Prevention.
Item 6 are the ordinances that will be introduced at this meeting.
Ordinance 06-2022-014, ordinance amending Chapter 39 of the Code of the Township of Monroe entitled Fees. Ordinance 06-2022-015, bond ordinance providing for various improvements to the water utility in and by the Township of Monroe in the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $830,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $830,000 bonds or notes of the Township to finance the cost thereof. Ordinance 06-2022-016, bond ordinance providing for various open space improvements in and by the Township of Monroe in the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $1,768,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,683,700 bonds or notes of the Township to finance part of the cost thereof.
Thank you.
One more.
One more.
Ordinance 06-2022-017, bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and by the Township of Monroe in the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $4,802,350, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $4,578,225 bonds or notes of the Township to finance part of the cost
Thank you.
thereof.
Item 7 is the resolutions that are for consideration under the consent agenda, R6 2022-178 through R6 2022-195. Would all council members please review these resolutions? If there are any that you wish accepted for consideration, please say so now. Councilman?
I have a few.
Sure.
R6 2022-178. R6 2022-182. R6 2022-192. R6 2022-193.
Thank you. Any other members of the council have resolutions they would like accepted? We now move to the public comment portion of the agenda session. Please remember, it is 5 minutes per speaker. May I have a motion to open the public comments for the agenda session?
So moved.
Councilwoman Schneider. May I have a second on that?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Van Zora. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Anyone wishing to address the body of the council body, please come forward. Your name and address for our records, please, Mr. Gunkelman.
Someone needs to adjust this. Nearly in the launch. George Kunkelman, 5 Kelly Court. Good evening, madam.
Good evening.
The ordinance ending in 015 on page 2, various improvements to the utility. And my question would be to do what?
Mr. Stroin or Mr. Weinberg going to take that,
Sure,
please?
I'll take a first shot at it. So it's split almost evenly. There's about $370,000 for new meters that we need for as new homes and as we replace, and the other 460 will be for equipment, including a tandem dump truck and a variety of other vehicles. That'll all be outlined in the ordinance.
Okay. And what is the life cycle of the items that we're proposing to bond for here?
So according to bond counsel, just moving over here on this, it's 12.77 years based on the bond law.
That's the period of the bond or the period of,
Well, it's the useful life.
That's
correct?
the useful life.
I think that was your question.
Sorry.
That's the useful life as the bond law determines, depending on whether it's equipment or.
so this equipment is going to last 12 and a half years?
That is, well, actually, it'll probably last longer.
I'm kind of old, so it'll
No,
probably
no, that's-
outlast me, but I
No,
don't think
that-
so.
The answer
The
is,
average.
it'll probably last longer than that, but the useful life is what's established for those things by,
No.
I think they're DCA regulations.
Not in the real world. No, I'm sorry, it's just not. You know, the bond, the item here that's being discussed that will last a long, that period is the bond itself, not the items we're talking about purchasing.
Well, the meters.
These are items that are used and have wear and tear, and the predictable lifespan is not 12 and a half years. Now, maybe the bond company thinks it is, but I think there's enough practical people here to know better than that. But, and, you know, that entity, the Water and Sewer Authority, was such a cash cow that the township took it over to alleviate problems we had, which I thought was a good move at that time. But now to turn around and take the part that's a cash generator and start funding it with bonds seems like, you know, not what I would consider good management.
Can I?
Moving rapidly along.
Can
No,
I-
my time is.
No, I just want to modify my answer. The answer is that the water meters are 15 years and the vehicles are 5 years. So
It's a
maybe
blend.
that's,
It's a blend.
so that explains it to you better. So that's the way that the law determines it. So the vehicles are 5 years and the water meters are 15 years. So when you do it as an average and you think to yourself, wow, how did the vehicles get to be 12.7 years? It doesn't make any sense, but that's how it is.
So I guess the connection fees don't even cover the meters.
The connection fees don't even cover the meters.
Yeah.
It's just the opposite. We make money on the connection fees.
The meters last 15 years, bonds 12 years.
Right, but why do we have to pay for the meters if people have a connection fee that covers the cost of the meter?
No, we're replacing existing meters.
Replacing meters.
Not, that's not on new people. If your meter breaks, we have to have a meter that we put on yours, so that and not only that, we have a program of replacing meters when they get to their, when there are meters
I'm
out
aware of
there
that,
are
I live
15
in the
years old.
town. Yeah, thank you. The next item is 016, same question, to do what? To open space?
Council
Mr.
President?
Weinberg,
Are good?
please.
Yeah, so that includes two items. One is $1.688 million that is associated with the new turf and track and pole vaulting station at the high school. And the second item is related to, I believe, $80,000, which is related to exercise equipment at the senior center on the park loop that goes around, which is part of the Open Space Recreation Trust Fund.
So open space is not the bulk of this at all. It's the bulk of it is the money for the improvements at the track facility across the road.
Right, recreation.
Yeah, so I don't know, various open space improvements. That's kind of misrepresenting the 90% of the money.
Time's up.
Is my time up?
Your time is up.
Okay. I'll be more careful about who I share it with next time.
I know you will. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address us, please? Your name and address for the record, please.
Elizabeth Fagan, 21 Woodcrest Circle, Monroe Township, New Jersey. The open space, you just said that that's for part of the high school. Whenever I've contacted this board about anything that happens with any school, I'm told that you don't have anything to do with the school. So why is that not coming out of the school budget?
Mr. Weinberg, you want to discuss the shared service?
Sure, really quick, we passed a shared service.
I'm sorry, I have
Sorry.
to time you so that I make sure I get my
I'll
full
wait till the
time.
end.
Okay, go ahead.
We'll wait to the end then. Go ahead.
Okay,
comment?
and then I wanted to know about the improvements of the capital fund. That seems like an awful lot of money. And,
017 you're questioning?
yes,
Okay.
what those improvements are. And I agree with the water company statement of the last resident. First of all, I don't know how much money we make off of owning our own water company and why we don't use a greater municipality such as American or Middlesex. But I don't understand why so much money is going into it. Because Middlesex is a private company and they make money. And we seem to just be putting money in. So if you could tell me how much we made off of the water company, like what's their, what have we gained from them?
That concludes your question?
Yes.
then? Okay, please, Mr. Weinberg.
Sure. So on the first two, we do have a shared services agreement between the council and the mayor and the Board of Education on the field, which is oftentimes used by our township sports teams as well. We've done that before with regard to the tennis courts and a variety of other things. On the capital improvements 017, on the township side, it's usually about 2 to 3 million. It usually includes DPW trucks and ambulances. It's a little bit higher this year because we have $2.6 million in there for a police addition. When the police moved in there 30 plus years ago, they had about 31 employees and now they're up to 66. And so we really need to add that addition on. And so that's why that number is a little bit larger than usual. And I'll defer to Joe on the comparison with the private utilities and the cost structure with that, if you want, or do you want me to jump in? Sorry.
I can fill in anything.
Okay, so obviously we're a municipal utility, so we don't quote make money. Obviously, private entities do make money. As you may recall from the latest Monroe News, our rates are significantly lower than most other municipalities that use American Water and who use Middlesex Water. Our rates are significantly lower than theirs.
Is that in considering in this bond that we're paying?
For
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
They make investments just like we make investments. So both make investments. They just have more profit built in. A lot of towns are privatizing their water and sewer services. I've seen it across the state. Just from my opinion, I do see rates going up sometimes when that happens significantly on the ratepayers. I think we have I can only do my point of view. I think we have excellent employees, excellent management, and we do provide a good water and sewer service here.
How many people are employed by that department?
I believe it's 37, late upper 30s.
Just wondering,
Yeah.
wondering.
Yep, I'll get it to you after.
And, no, it's fine. And the police department, are they moving or they're just refurbishing downstairs?
If I could,
Please,
Council
yes,
President,
please
it's a
do.
4,500 square foot addition towards this direction where Town Hall is. So they're coming this way. So they're not moving, they're just expanding out and building a little bit behind.
Okay, just wondering. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address us, please come forward. No, you don't. But sometimes I'll get nasty as the years go by.
Good evening, Lucille Panos, 1208C Lindera Plaza. And I'll just go through these and you can answer them later or at the convenience because I always seem to have a lot and then get cut off. Ordinance for introduction 014. What are the specifics of the amendments? Are they increases, decreases for the third-party billing? On all those bond ordinances, 15, 16, and 17, what's the total bond debt that this township has, and who is the bond attorney? 2022-180, and I left my notes some at home. 180 and 181, actually. It's granted because there's a stipulation in there that within the contract, they must have the mandatory affirmative action language submitted to the township within the time period prescribed by law.
Excuse me, could you just tell me which ordinance you're referring to now, at this moment? I'm sorry, I lost...
No, I lost, believe, thank you for, we got it. It's actually a combination, I guess, of 15,
okay.
16, and 17. What's the total debt? Who's the bond insurance? Oh, the one I was referring to next could be 180 or 181. I forget which one had the stipulation that the engineering company must include the mandatory affirmative action language within the time period prescribed by law. Has that been done? Has they
No,
submitted
it has to be it's in their contract.
Okay, but that was a stipulation, so I assumed it wasn't in their
No.
They didn't do it yet.
No,
They didn't submit it
the
yet.
contract that they sign has to have that mandatory language.
Right, within a certain time period, so...
No, it has to be in it when it's signed. It's not mandatory. It's part of the affirmative action language is part of their contract when it's signed.
Right, but it says within a time period prescribed by law.
In the appropriate time is
No,
what
I
you're
understand,
saying.
but.
Okay. 184. I think this is a great program, by the way, the Clean Communities Grant. I actually, when Councilman DePiero, you did it once, and I'm glad everybody picked up on it. But do local organizations, can they get compensated? Like, say the Boy Scouts wanted to have a cleanup, can they get a couple $100 for their group or a sport group? I know some towns do that, and I would ask you to consider that. It encourages young people or whoever to get involved. 187, the road improvement. What roads? I couldn't seem to find that online. Is that available to the public? 190, the tax refunds. They all seem reasonable, except the one that jumped out at me is $46,000. How'd they get that refund? And 194, what are non-audit advisory services? Could you give me some examples of them? And finally, 195, which is quite concerning to me, is the stipulation that the fireworks company that's in their contract. They have 30 days to submit their certificate of insurance, their business registration, 30 days after the contract is executed. Well, that brings us past the 4th of July. And I don't know how many are familiar with the firework companies that left town stranded years ago. That was, one thing. And I hope to goodness they have insurance intact here, before the 4th of July. And since it's in a county park, is the county going to contribute to any of this? Whether it's the insurance or the funds. Basically, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess I'll get answers the next...
Mr. Weinberg, did you wish to comment on that now, please?
Sure, I'll try and
Thank you
go
so
as
much.
quick as I can. So on
Sure.
014, they're highlighted there. I'll go through them in detail, and they'll obviously be on second reading next month and posted online as well. Ambulance third-party billing fees, we currently are at $750. If we take someone to the hospital, it's closer to $950 on average for all other ambulance services. We haven't looked at that in a couple of years, so that would be an increase, as well as the transport from 15 to 25 cents per mile. This only applies if you This is, we do not balance bill in Monroe. So if we're in Monroe and we submit this to your insurance, then we take whatever the insurance company pays. If we're on a mutual aid call outside of Monroe, whether that be Jamesburg or Manalapan or whatever, then we do balance bill. Their construction fees are somewhat minor. They're just a couple little tweaks, nothing significant. MTUD, water and sewer connection fees, they've been pretty stable for about the last 5 or 6 years. They're up a little bit on the water side and on the sewer side from about $3,000 to $3,100 and from about $3,200 to about $3,300 and change. On 015, 16, and 17, they're all a little bit different. The first one is part of the
No, I didn't ask specific, a total of the township bond debt,
60 million.
60 million.
And McManaman Scotland is the bond counsel.
And who is it, bud?
And McManaman Scotland is the bond
Thank you.
counsel. And yes, and that is actually a pretty small amount and represents about 18% of our bonding capacity. Let's see, 181, I think Lou answered. 184, Clean Communities Grant. Yes, we do offer that service. There was just an article in the Sentinel about it. It's on our website. It's $500 to any community group that wants to get, I believe it's 10 or 20. I don't know why I can't think of the exact amount. I think it's 20 people to come out and help us with the cleanup, and we love to do that. On 187, the roadway improvements, Mark could go through the specific streets when he does his report, if that's okay, where we're going to be working on those. 190, I think the number you quoted might have been from 191, which is
Correct.
tax lien premium payments. So premium payments is just the down payment in order to buy the tax lien, so we don't actually get that money. 194, other items are, we've been having this person help us with the ARP, the American Recovery Program, and some of the different issues associated with the federal reimbursement and such. So those would be the other activities that are sort of outside the audit and such. And then 195, the fireworks, we do have that material. We do have all their stuff available to us. So we do have that.
So the rest of it was, I
Sorry if I
can come
missed
back, but that ARP and the federal, that was kind of general. I would like more specifics on the federal. And the other part of the fireworks, is the county contributing anything since it's in the county park?
So historically, this has been a program of Monroe Township.
Monroe Township.
Long before I got here. Obviously, there are people who enjoy it from all across, at times, Middlesex County or Jamesburg. But I think that's how all fireworks are. I know a lot of people go to different towns to watch fireworks. There's no like attendance as far as I'm aware
So
of.
is that a yes or a no?
So we pay for it.
We pay for it.
Sorry.
We pay for
the
it, sorry.
question was the county.
We pay for it.
All right, thank you.
You're most welcome. Does anyone else wish to address this body now? Seeing or hearing none, I'd like a motion to close the public comment section, please.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Councilman DePiero. Second on that, please.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I have a motion to adjourn the agenda meeting, please? Moving right
motion.
along here, thank
Motion.
you. Thank you. May I have a second on that?
Second.
Thank you. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilman DePiero,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel,
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora,
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. We would like to...
The time is 6:53.
6:53. I'd like to call the regular meeting to order now, please. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. A second.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call again, please.
Councilman DePiero,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel,
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora,
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. May I have a motion to approve the payment of claims for the run date of June 22nd, 2022? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman DePiero,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel,
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora,
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the following meetings, June 1st, 2022, the agenda and regular combined meeting? Motion, please.
So
Motion.
moved.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thanks. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. We move to item 4, the ordinance for second reading, 06-2022-012. The ordinance approving the traffic signal improvements for Docks Corner Road and Cranberry South River Road. We were taking a motion to open the public hearing on that ordinance specifically. Motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Good. Anyone wishing to address this body about this ordinance only, please come to the microphone now. Hearing and seeing none, I'm going to have a motion, please, to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Thank you. A second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 06-2022-012, please?
Motion.
Thank you. Second on that motion.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. Motion is adopted. That ordinance is adopted. Ordinance 06-2022-013. The ordinance amending the Township Code to repeal in its entirety Chapter 44 entitled Flood Damage Prevention and Chapter 108-5.20 entitled Floodplains Management, and replace with new Chapter 44 entitled Flood Damage Prevention. And parenthetically on this ordinance, not part of it, it says, so this is a statewide update. I'd like to open a public hearing on that motion only. May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Thank you. A second on that?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing is open. Anyone wishing to address us, please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Elizabeth Fagan, 21 Woodcrest Circle, Monroe Township. In Irene, I lost my house on Forest Park Terrace. I'd like you to, if you could explain to me what this means.
Miss,
Thank you, Council
there you go.
President.
Thank you.
Sure. What this is, it's an update of our existing ordinance. Right now, our ordinance is in 2 sections of our code. It combines it and brings it into one. It also updates it to the current FEMA requirements. Again, it's required throughout the state. We are a municipality that's in the National Flood Insurance Program with FEMA, so part of maintaining that status is updating it to FEMA's current regulations, which this brings it into current conformance.
Okay, thank you.
You're most welcome. Anyone else wish to address us regarding this ordinance only, please? Hearing and seeing none, I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public hearing. Hi,
Motion.
folks. Thank you.
Second.
Have a second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing, none. Public hearing is now closed. May I have a motion to adopt 06-2022-013? Motion, please.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. May I have a second on that?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call vote.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. Motion is passed. Number 5 is the ordinances for introduction. Would you wish to manage that, please? Sure. Thank you.
Ordinance 06-2022-014, ordinance amending Chapter 39 of the Code of the Township of Monroe entitled Fees.
Council President, I have a few questions.
Of course.
I noticed that there's, under Section 39.4, it says Board of Education exemptions. What exactly does that mean?
Mr. Weinberg, you prepared to answer that, please?
Let me just pull that up.
Sure. You did it again, right? There you go. I'm back.
Which page is that
It's
on?
39, Section 39.4, it says Board of Education exemptions.
I guess I apologize, I don't see that in the ordinance. If you could just clarify, and maybe Lou, you see it?
Councilman, please.
Let me see if
Now
I
you're,
can pull it up.
yes.
All the changes are highlighted in red, so.
Don't pull it up for me, please.
It's on the,
It's listed, I see where it is. It's listed in the, kind of the table of contents in the beginning.
yeah, but I,
But I don't believe, Councilman, I don't believe that there's any amendment to that, so that probably should not have been there.
and I just wanted to point something out. Before the high school was built, there was a huge tie-in fee for the taxpayers for the schools. And that's when I saw Monroe Township Board of Education exemptions. If the schools build a new school, or if they do an addition, do they have to still pay in the reimbursements, the tie-in fees, like they've done in the past? Oak Tree School, and the high school paid close to $2 million. And they basically got was a letter that said, yeah, you can tie into our existing system, and they had to build a pump station, they had to do all the work, and they got the letter for $2 million. So it's the taxpayers paying again, and that was, when I saw this, it made me think back when the high school was built. So if the Board of Ed does an addition or builds a new school, is this in any way, shape, or form going to be an exemption for them to tie in?
Can we comment,
I mean-
have that answer right now?
Yeah, we would have to research that.
Yeah, I
and
think so.
That's sort of a legal question. I think it
Yeah.
may be a good one, but I don't know offhand. If historically they've done it, they may have done it because of a legal reason, so.
So I would make a motion that we would table this until we have the right verbiage and also the right knowledge of what I just asked. Because I know for the township, many jobs that I've done for the townships, they were exempt from the tie-in fees. And that's why I went to Senator Greenstein's office, along with Mike Rogers, and with the Board of Education administration, to try to save that $2 million and not being paid.
Was that now that you went to see the senator?
No,
about this?
no,
You're going back
no,
to this-
I'm going back, but I'm just saying that with that verbiage being in there, as our attorney said, he thinks it's a mistake, I would make a motion that we table this until we get it corrected, and that's what I,
Councilman, the only thing that's a mistake is that I think all they did was list all of the sections of Chapter 39, even though the 39.4 is not changed, and it is unchanged because I'm looking at it in front of me, and it says, "The Board of Education of the Township of Monroe shall be exempt from the payment of any fee enumerated in this chapter of the code, as well as any fee, charge, or assessment required by any other chapter of this code." So the answer is that is in our code and remains unchanged by this ordinance.
They are exempt.
so, but in the past, they paid $2 million for the high school, and they paid for the Oak Tree School like 1.8, and that's my question, with this ordinance, if this gets adopted, if they decide to build an addition, they decide to build a school, are we going to, are they
No, they're
exempt?
I just read it.
They're exempt.
Yeah, absolutely. I just read that section of the code is not changed by this ordinance, so that
They are
remains in
exempt.
effect.
And therefore,
So
it's
they're-
in our
they'd be
record
exempt.
that- I'm sorry, Lou.
And I don't know, what I can't tell, Councilman, is when it is exactly that provision of the code got adopted. And I'd have to do just a little bit of research to find out when that is, and the clerk's office maybe can help me.
Well, I could tell you it was after the high school was built, because I basically stood on my head with Greenstein to try to get this thing. We paid over $3.8 million to MTMUA
Where-
for tie-in fees.
So
for
remember-
those two schools.
So remember what one of the differences, Councilman, is that the Utilities Authority was an authority. So the authority they were a self-governing entity, so they set their own fees. So it is entirely possible that they did that at the time, but now they're part of the township and you set the fees.
Right, when I built the softball complex and the 9/11 memorial for the town, and including this complex here, we did work at this complex, they didn't pay a dime. The township did not pay a dime, but the Board of Ed paid about $3.8 million.
So can I,
But the answer is they're exempt.
they're exempt. So I would like to repeat clearly for the record that they are exempt
Correct.
under the current code.
Correct.
So, Councilman, you were looking for a motion to table this?
That's what I
Bill,
thought,
even
because
hearing?
I didn't feel comfortable. When I read, it said Board of Education exemption. I couldn't find it,
Okay.
and then that's why I asked the question, and then, as our attorney said, it's a mistake.
It's
That's
not.
why I said,
And-
let's table it.
So
And I
you
would I
okay?
would ask the clerk to strike that in the beginning of the excuse me?
Sorry, go ahead.
To strike that reference in the beginning, because
It won't even be there.
you're actually only amending, Madam Clerk, this ordinance was written out of the department. We're actually only amending Section 39-3. It's the only section that's being amended. So
Okay.
you can take out the reference to the 39-1 and 39-2, and I would do that just so that if the councilman who's sophisticated was confused, I wouldn't want other people to be confused that somehow that section disappeared.
Thank-
So if you can, Madam Clerk, just take out the references to 39-1, 39-2, and 39-4, because it's only 39-3 that we're amending.
You are withdrawing your request for tabling a
I will
motion?
withdraw
Thank
with
you.
that amendments that is
Okay.
attorney's recommendation.
Okey-dokey.
Thank you.
Thank
You're welcome.
Thank you, Councilman. Good catch.
And
Thank you.
one other point I wanted to make was the fees. We should, Alan brushed on it. The fee for water's going from $29.68 to $31.05, and $32.01 for sewer to $33.99. So I just think that's something that we could have added when it said water sewer connection fees. Just give the public,
We can put it
you
in
know,
parenthetical like you
yeah.
want
So we just, they're aware what the fees are,
Okay.
because as one of our residents said, there was over $40 million from MTMUA given to the township, and if the connection fees don't pay for the water meters, then, we got a problem.
We're moving on now? I can do this?
You can do it.
Oh, thank you. Okey dokey. I need a motion to introduce the ordinance 06-2022-014. May I have that motion, please?
I'd make a motion
Thank
as
you.
amended by our council.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Van Zuren. May I have a second on that motion?
Second.
Councilwoman Schneider, would you do a roll call on this, please?
Councilman DePiero,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel,
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora,
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. Have to move to the next one?
Yes.
That is it. Okay, please.
Ordinance 06-2022-015, bond ordinance providing for various improvements to the water utility in and by the Township of Monroe in the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $830,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $830,000 bonds or notes of the township to finance the cost thereof.
May I have a motion for this ordinance, please?
Motion.
Thank you. A second.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman DePiero,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel,
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora,
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes.
Ordinance 06-2022-016, bond ordinance providing for various open space improvements in and by the Township of Monroe in the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $1,768,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,683,700 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. A second on that motion, please.
Second.
Thank you. A roll call.
Councilman DePiero,
No.
Councilwoman Schneider,
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel,
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora,
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. Next ordinance, please.
Ordinance 06-2022-017, bonds ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and by the Township of Monroe in the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $4,802,350 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $4,578,225 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Thank you. Second on that motion.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman DePiero,
No.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. We'll move to see the resolutions, please. I should have made them stapled.
Resolutions for consideration under the consent agenda, R6 2022-178 through R6 2022-195, with the exception of resolutions 178, 182, 192, and 193, which will be voted on separately.
May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
May I have a second on that?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman DePiero.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes. Now the resolutions that were removed for the consent agenda for consideration.
We have resolutions 178, 182, 192, and 193.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman DePiero.
Abstain?
Councilwoman Schneider.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siegel.
Yes.
Council Vice President Van Zora.
Yes.
Council President Cohen.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to move to the administrator's report. Mr. Weinberg, please.
Yes. Do you want to, you're going to do BF, right? Thank you very much, Council President.
My pleasure.
I'm just going to turn it over to Joe Stroin in the beginning of my report, just to give a little update on the landfill, particularly as it relates to the force main that's being put in as well.
Mr. Stroin, you have your microphone, I see.
Yeah, thank you. I'm pleased to announce that the project to install the force main from the landfill to Avenue K has begun, and the contractor is making excellent progress regarding that. In fact, as I think everyone knows, this is a double-walled HDPE main that is being installed via the horizontal drilling directional horizontal drilling method, and that really minimizes the amount of disruption within the neighborhood, as well as the amount of work that is necessary in order to install this main. So far, there's only been one major excavation that's been done in the roadway at the corner of Lonnie and Laurie Street, and the actual pipe has been installed from the landfill down Lonnie all the way to Laurie, and it is actually now within the trail that is directly behind the landfill approaching Carnegie Street. Again, it's very exciting to see. They've fused approximately 5,000 feet of pipe already. There's close to 18,000 feet of pipe over 3 miles that will be fused before the project is done. The contractor elected to start at the landfill because it is the most difficult part of the job, with the bends and turns that need to be completed to get us through to Spotswood Gravel Hill Road, as well as the fact that there are, as determined by the test pits that were drilled prior to the actual construction starting, a lot of utilities that were discovered actually in the rights-of-way. And so far, we have done an excellent job of avoiding those utilities and meeting the actual profile necessary to deliver the leachate all the way to the landfill. Concurrently, there's another contract that's been let, which is to actually build a pump station that will pump the leachate from the landfill to the Avenue K pump station, which will ultimately transport it to the MCUA for treatment and disposal. That is proceeding well, as you know, with the supply chain issues that have affected the entire nation, probably the entire world. There's a number of long lead time items. Shop drawings have been approved to get those lead time items built, and we're optimistic that when the force main is complete, the pump station will be ready to go, and we'll be able to stop the trucking throughout the neighborhood and begin pumping leachate from the landfill directly to our pump station.
Thank you, Mr. Stroin. Any members of the council have any questions?
Joe, what time do you, when you said estimated time, do you have a crystal ball that you can help us out on? What would you say that the completion should be where this pump station's up and running?
Mr. Strine, please.
Thank you, Council President. Excellent question. A lot of it obviously is always dependent upon weather stop, the actual fusion event that was taking place today. But once we get into the straight line area of construction, which is on Spotswood Gravel Hill Road, we should make pretty good progress. And the estimation is that probably sometime in August is when the construction for the force main will be done. And based on some of the delivery time quotes that we've gotten from some of the material suppliers, we're thinking that in July we should have most of the material for the pump station, and construction should start. We're working with our township attorney on securing a construction and utility easement for the pump station, and we're optimistic that that should happen relatively soon, so that doesn't delay construction of the pump station as well.
Good. I sent some pictures today, street sweeping in these residential developments. I mean, it's something that's really important, keep the streets clean, because children are out, people are walking, driving their bikes, and, you know, everybody's trying to work with the construction for what's been going through these communities, especially in Inwood Estates. So it's just something that I sent a few pictures, and I know you went down there to take a look, but hopefully the contractor can get a power sweeper in there and clean up daily as they make their progress. And they also, I know they're doing a good job, but they just need to be a little neater and a little cleaner for our community. That if I can, you know, just extending as people call me and they say, hey, what's going on down there? And it seems like they could run a power sweeper through there. That's what I sent the pictures for today. Thank you.
Definitely, yeah.
Any other members of the council have a question for Mr. Strine regarding this? Okay, we can, Mr. Weinberg, you have more information to share with us now?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Strine. Appreciate it.
Thank you, President.
Thank you, Council President. Just a quick update on recycling. We did get some information this past week from the county, the MCIA, which runs the recycling program. I believe there's 14 towns of the 25 towns in Middlesex County that are part of it. We're used to Solterra being that company, and they were purchased by Interstate Waste. The good news is the recycling program has been running through COVID, where a lot of trash haulers were really struggling. The challenge is they have now, in the last probably month or two, faced their own challenges of getting employees and struggling to find staff, which has led to delays in all 14 towns. So they are having a job fair, doing a $2,500 signing bonus, monthly attendance bonuses, authorizing more overtime, putting supervisors on the road. And so they are trying to pay attention to it. We know that the recycling has been late in all 14 towns, but they're committed to doing a better job of it. If for some reason they don't make it that day, and we'll try and put announcements out on that, do leave it out. Don't wait for, you know, the next Saturday, which has been done in the past. Just leave it out and they'll get to it the next day. They're aware of the situation, and we are pushing the county to make sure that they do a better job. Obviously, it's a difficult time for waste and recycling haulers, but we're going to have to keep pressing, because we are paying for that service as a township, as a shared service, and we want it to be as you know, as efficient as it could be. Next up, just really quick, Sustainable New Jersey got a $2,000 grant for our environmental commission. So special thanks through PSE&G to Harold, Karen Polidoro, Renee Hayter, and all the work that they do. I'm excited in here about the design work for the new volleyball courts at Patriot Park. That's something we certainly heard a lot about, so super focused on that and excited. There was also an item on here on Spotswood Gravel Hill Road. As you may know, we received a $320,000 state grant. This is going to be a really terrific project that runs all the way from Benny almost up to the traffic light at Pergola. So I think that's going to be an exciting project and a much-needed road, and it'll follow some of the work that Joe's doing. So excited to get that jump-started with another grant. Mark will give a little update on we're moving forward on, as many people know, on Lower Matchaponics. North State Home Road. That was a $610,000 grant, so almost 80% of that is state funded. And as was mentioned earlier, this is, I think, our largest roadway improvement project so far at close to $1.5 million. We'll be paving 5 miles of street on our own during the summer, which is the best time to pave. I want to congratulate Mark for getting 11 bids and being on budget with his engineer's estimate. Clean Communities, as was mentioned earlier, we got the 4th biggest grant in Middlesex County. We were in their press release for the top 30, and we're up to $105,000 on that, which is really exciting. And I guess I would just close with, as we approach summer, just want to thank all the Monroe Township employees who work outside, whether it be DPW, MTUD, Recreation, camp counselors, police, fire districts, EMS, construction. We get some really hot days in July and August, and some people don't really have a choice but to be outside. And so we certainly appreciate our employees who do that and struggle through some hot weather. So that's my report, Council President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Weinberg. Mr. Asmowitz, you're up.
Thank you, Council President.
My pleasure.
Quick update on the inclusive playground. That project is nearly complete. We're wrapping up the paving and the landscaping. As Alan had mentioned, North State Home Road, Lower Matchaponix, and a portion of Spotswood Gravel Hill. That is a NJDOT local aid funded project. That project is nearing completion. The roads have been paved. We'll be wrapping up striping and the remaining work in the coming days. Costco Drive, which this council recently awarded. That is a $600,000 NJDOT local freight grant that was awarded at the last meeting, I believe, to S&G Paving, and they will be mobilizing that project this week and getting that started. And lastly, the council awarded tonight the 2022 road improvement program for $1.527 million. We did receive 11 bidders on that project. The prices range from $1.5 million to $1.9 million. So we had very good numbers. It is a total of 15 roads, and as Alan mentioned, about 5 miles of total paving. One of the residents asked about the street names, and if I can list all the streets, Council President?
Please do.
Certainly.
Okay. We're going to get a shot that I'll remember all of them after the first.
We're paving either the entire length or portions of the following streets: Sheridan Street, Wedgewood Court, Pineview Court, Old Road, Union Valley Road, Fifth Avenue, Tracy Station Road, Mott Avenue, Gravel Hill Spotswood Road, Brew Road, Golf View Court, Sheffield Ave, also Spring Street, River Road, and a portion of Wyckoff Mills, Applegarth Road.
Thank you.
And that's my report.
Going to move to council's reports. I'm going to begin with Councilwoman Schneider, Ward 1. Oh, no goofs. Councilwoman, please.
All right, thank you. I sit on the Commission on Aging, and I'm really amazed what that senior center does. Just on transportation, trips, 225, this is monthly. Medical transport, 536. The Princeton Shuttle, 161. Freehold Shuttle, 228. In town, 39. For a total, it's one of the highest we've had. With the increase with people moving in, we have not increased our staff at the senior center, but they're still doing a phenomenal job on servicing all these people. And with no tax increase, we have not cut services, which I think is phenomenal. Excuse me. I'm really looking forward to this Thursday. This Thursday, we'll start our first, what we call our farmers market. It's going to run from June 30th to September 15th. It'll be from 2 p.m. until 7 p.m. It'll be in the parking lot of the library. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm also on the Human Relations Commission, and we will have a table there. There will be different groups. So I hope everybody will stop by and support this. Not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before, we had our annual Youth Fishing Derby at Thompson's Park. That's one of the highlights. where it's family-oriented. The children range in age from 5 to 7, up to 14 to 18. I saw a little girl who won one of the prizes, where the fishing pole was bigger than her. But I think it's just a great day for the family. I really think we're so family-oriented, really. And I know the mayor, excuse me, my allergies, will speak on the wellness commission that he has. This past week, it was the yoga. And what impressed me about the yoga was, they have it at the senior center, was I wasn't sure what the parent-child yoga class would bring, but it was phenomenal to see all the parents and children that came out. So I think we're trying to take everybody healthy with our wellness, and I thank the mayor for that. The cultural arts summer concerts are going to start. I know I go to all of them in the park, at Thompson's Park. They're free, and they'll start July 7th. So, oh, and then this past week, excuse me, I received an invitation for the temple and the culture center on, excuse me, on Road Hill Road in Monroe. What I think is great about this temple is it's not only religion, but it's educational. And we toured it, and it's phenomenal. I think to learn the culture and to know religion of other faiths is wonderful. And with that, I went to the Elks in Jamesburg for Flag Day. I wish they would teach that in school, because I don't think our children know the meaning of the American flag and how it started. So that was very educational and very informative at the Elks. I attended the Indian American Club, a nonprofit, on this past Sunday at the Senior Center. And having someone who was part of what I call abused by her husband, her first husband. One of the songs was because of abuse and domestic violence. So I think it was a beautiful night. I appreciate the culture, the American culture, for keeping their culture. And especially with domestic violence. It just doesn't happen to women, it does happen to men. But I think we should be aware that it still happens in this era, which I hope it never does, because my friend is now completely paralyzed. She's at the Elms because of being beat in the head by a man. Thank God she had few good years with a second husband, but I think we have to be aware there is domestic violence in this world. That's my...
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Rupa Siegel, Ward 2.
Thank you, Council President. Just a couple comments I want to make, echoing Councilwoman Schneider. Last night's event was beautiful, and being someone who studied classical Indian dancing for so many years, to see the dancers portray such a topic was very amazing and emotional and moving. So it was really a wonderful job that the Indian American Club were able to provide such an event. And again, Councilwoman Schneider, you and I could have written our reports together, but going to the Balaji Temple last weekend, that too, it is a beautiful temple, but I think the one additional beauty of it, and their goal, one of their big goals, is to continue the cultural piece and to keep educating the community on the culture and culture of the Indian culture, but also generations to come, because you do lose a little bit of your culture when you are trying to assimilate to a new culture here. So I think that's wonderful. Yesterday we had an opportunity to go to the ribbon cutting ceremony for Syndicate Productions, which that was a really nice event. And you know, one of the things they had shared was how they started their company during the pandemic, wasn't quite sure where it would go and how it would work. But it was wonderful that they were there yesterday, and we were celebrating their grand opening, and it was even nicer that many of the owners were right from Monroe too. So congratulations to them and best of luck. And the other thing, I just wanted to give a couple updates from the commissions. Once Upon a Mattress play tickets for the Mighty Oak Players and the Cultural Arts Commission are on sale. So if you're interested, please check out their website. And Dye Farm Tours from the Historic Preservation, they have a tour this Sunday on July 3rd. So if you have some time and you're home in Monroe, please do stop by. And last, I would like to congratulate the high school class of 2022 on their graduation this Friday. It's always nice to see a class graduate, and I wish you all the best in your future endeavors and continue to make Monroe proud. Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations that your son was among the graduates of that class.
Thank you.
Which is always very special. Ward 3, Councilman DePiero, please.
Thank you. I'm going to repeat a few things just because it's on top of my list. We were all part of it, so I just wanted to put a shout out. The Father's Day, we had the pleasure of being invited, as Councilwoman Snyder and Councilwoman Siegel said, that at the temple, and it was just, it's 30% completed. They have another 70% to go, and they worked hard to get where they are. With the help of the township, the mayor, the construction, the water company, everybody that was involved, and they're appreciative, and they were really happy to see us, and they really opened their arms, they opened their doors, and it's beautiful to see that it's in Monroe. It's a great building. The warmth that you felt when you walked in the building, and they were just grateful to see us. So it was something that we were all part of, and I just wanted to wish them well. And it's something that we should go back to, during their construction, and also the help that they're going to help our community. You can see they're willing to do a lot for our community. And yesterday, we went to the Syndicate Film production, as Councilwoman Siegel said, and it's tough. It's very hard to be in business and stay in business, and these guys did it through COVID, and they did a phenomenal job. They had a big crowd there. Our mayor cut the ribbon when we all wished them well, and I just want to give them a shout out and say good luck, and thank God that they got through with the pandemic and everything. They're doing a good job, and congratulations to our 2022 graduates. It's always a good thing to see our future and our growth in our town. The graduates, the parents, the grandparents, and just keep in mind that some of them are still in summer school, and they do have some other programs. So we just have to, respect the buses on our roads. I had a couple questions about railroad crossings. I keep asking about Gravel Hill, Spotswood, right where DPW is, and it's something that's in really bad shape. But we have that crossing. We have Prospect Plains and Public Road. That's another railroad crossing that's really, really bad. You start hitting potholes, and it wakes you up when you hit those holes. So it's something that we got to keep. Hopefully, Mark, you can keep up on that and give us some kind of updates, or maybe we can put it on our websites, like I've been saying, our construction, as we're doing it, as we're bidding jobs and future jobs. I just feel that should be something that should be on our website to let their public know. The county, which I was shocked to see, the paving that they did on Spotswood Englishtown Road, and I did send numerous pictures, few emails of puddles, and I went back 2 days later, some puddles gone, some puddles still there. And I just hope that the county, it's a washboard job. It's really not the job that they normally do. And if you went on Facebook, you saw a lot of people complaining about the quality. Kevin, who I guess he's on vacation or whatever, his emails, he said he's going to look into it and get back to us. But that job, I don't know if they're going any further into Spotswood, but it's not a good job. And I don't know if we supervise that job or what, but we need to get a hold of the county, especially on Romero Court. I named all of the courts in the streets. There's puddles right at the intersection. So hopefully we can get some straight answers. And on the paving that Mark mentioned, North State Home Road, Lower Matchaponix, Spotswood, Gravel Hill. You know, the contractors did a good job overall, and they did a fast job, but they did a quality job overall. There are a few manholes here and there, one or two puddles, nothing major. There's one I saw tonight come in at the intersection of Spotswood, Gravel Hill, and North State Home Road. But I'm sure Mark will have a punch list, and I did send a few pictures along. But my question would be, I guess, to Joe, MTMUA would not allow risers in their ordinance, and a lot of these manholes are kind of buried in the blacktop, and now they have to go back and kind of patch in to get it to jackhammer, get the manholes level to the pavement where it should be. Does MTUD have an ordinance about risers for sewer and water? Are you aware?
Mr. Stroyan, I seem to remember reading some emails and answers about that. Did you have a comment?
Councilman, that's a good question. I know that there are standard specification drawings in our rules and regulations that we're reviewing right now. I'll definitely review them in more detail and get back to you personally on that.
Right, because the reason why MTUD should have the same as MTMUA, but I'm not a lawyer, but I do know the reason why they did it with MTMUA was because of snowplow. When a snowplow would hit that manhole and that riser was on there, it would pop, either put the guy through the windshield, unfortunately, because of there's no you don't see the manhole when there's snow and it's covered and you're just driving along, or that it lifts that riser along with the cover and it sends it flying. And if there's an ongoing car coming towards our plow, it could hurt somebody. So I'd just like to know if you can get back to us if risers are allowed and how they're going to fix these manholes that are not flush to the new asphalt. Thank you. Traffic signal. We didn't talk about Joan Way, Applegarth. I sent an email. Mark responded that it's county. I understand it's county, but it is in Monroe. And this is an ongoing nightmare. If you go up there, striping still not, you can't even see the striping. It's worn out again. That signal, when is that signal going to be done?
Mr. Razumowitz, you want to answer that question, please?
Sure, Council President. I could jump in on this one, and I'll have responses for the other items.
What we indicated earlier. Thank you.
This is the Joan Warren Way traffic signal. I believe you mentioned that is a county project with the developer, and the last information I got from the county is they have they received revised plans, and they had some additional comments, and that was sent back to the developer. That was earlier in this month, so about 4 weeks ago.
Is it going to be this year? You think this year?
I hope that it'll be this year. I mean, my understanding is the developer is ready to go. He's had this project lined up now for more than a year to get started. However, there's some back and forth with the engineering plans. There were some changes with the county's requirements along the way, so I think they're close to giving him the green light.
And you had some other things to comment on, Mr. Razumowitz? Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman. Did I interrupt you?
No. If
Okay,
he has
fine.
answers.
Thank you.
If you want, I'll respond to the other items.
Yes, please.
I mean, with regard to the paving on North State Home and Gravel Hill Spotswood Gravel Hill and Lower Matchaponix, my understanding is we have one manhole that's an issue. So, it's not multiple manholes out there, but we did have one that was low, and for various reasons that will be corrected by the contractor. The county paving on Spotswood Englishtown Road, the county is well aware of the problem out there. They've been out there a couple times to look at it with their supervisors. My understanding is that they're reviewing it and will be addressing it at some point. If I get any information back from the county, certainly I'll be reporting back to the administration.
Thank you.
Last thing, the railroad crossings. I know we've talked about the Gravel Hill Railroad crossing by DPW. These are not projects the township can do. They're handled by the NJDOT, the Railroad Division. That project I spoke about at a couple of the council meetings in the last year. Councilman DePiero brought it up about a year ago. They did approve that project to go forward. However, it's tied into this year's budget, and as of earlier or late spring, I was not made aware yet if it's approved in the budget or not. So, but it is a project that they're anticipating doing. It's just whether it gets budgeted or not. Prospect Plains Railroad and that is at the state level, Council President.
Yes, no, I know that.
And the Prospect Plains Railroad Crossing, that's part of the project that's being undertaken by Middlesex County. Their project entails the intersection of Prospect Plains and Applegarth Road, and the road improvements from that intersection to the border with Cranberry, which includes that railroad crossing.
Yes, it does.
And it's still, we're in the land acquisition process of that. You know, the township's acquiring the required portions, the county, so that we can get the county the right of way and they can move that project forward. But it is designed and waiting on land acquisition.
Thank you. Mark, do you know if the county has a moratorium after they pave a road?
The county does have something in their regulations. I'm not sure the exact wording, whether it's a moratorium or if there's some level of fee that has to be paid if you have to open a road after paving. But there is some language in the county regulations.
Thank you. Again, I brought it up many times. Township of Monroe should have an ordinance for moratorium on new paving. We just went through $1.5 million, 5 miles of street, and the worst thing to do is see a jackhammer come a month later, sometimes for unnecessary stuff, and sometimes, you know, it's necessary, but it's definitely, we should have an ordinance that says the same material should be used and along with like an infrared system that can put a patch in a regular, the best way we can do a patch, not just have somebody put cold patch in or have somebody just put in material that when you're driving down the road, you hit a patch and you like to have a smooth transition as possible. So again, I've been asking for a moratorium, and I think that's something that we should do in the township.
Council President, well, I'll respond when you're
please.
done. You are.
Yes,
let the
no, I
council-
know. Yes, let him finish, and I know. that
I
Mr. Arpaio is
I also had Old Bridge Englishtown Road and Mounts Mill traffic light. Is there any progress with that yet?
I can give you the answer.
Council President, that's
Did I have
also,
Mr. Weinberg on my left and Mr. Razamowitz on my right? It's
that's
good.
in the land acquisition process, and I'll defer to Alan as
And
to the
Mr.
status.
Weinberg on my left.
Correct. That's in the land acquisition process. I think there's two or three parcels that we're going to condemnation for in order to get them. Once that's complete, then the county will move forward on their project as well. The land acquisition for was on the ordinance we had earlier for Prospect Plains. I just want to highlight, we voted earlier to introduce an ordinance
we
for
did.
land acquisition for Prospect Plains and Applegarth.
Yes, we
That
did.
money is included in there as well for that ordinance.
Right. That was $360,000. I saw that. But Spotswood Englishtown and Mounts Mill, the developer, I mean, he doesn't have any silt fence around the place. The place is a hot mess. And again, he's in and out of there. But then when you look at if you look at the intersection, there's no top pavement done. You have a lot of COs that have already been given to the developers there. And if you look at the crosswalks, they got ripped bags over them. They're not even working. So it's something that we need, we need to improve that area. There's a lot that's going on there, a lot of construction. He put a patch on a brand-new road that's probably 3-4 inches too high. When you go over it, you lose your steering wheel. So it's something that's why I said before, they should have a moratorium, or they should at least put it back in the condition that we put it in. And for our taxpayers, they deserve better than having a cold patch go in or a temporary patch for months. So it's just something that we should discuss. I mean, I've been asking for a moratorium for years. Another problem that we've had in the past, residents filling in properties we talked about a 30 cubic yard limit. We talked about grading plans. We talked about going to zoning, but we don't have an ordinance that really protects our residents. We had a few residents come to the last meeting, and I had never received anything that makes a change that could protect or give authority to our zoning on someone just dumping dirt. I mean, I just had it happen right in front of my house. Somebody brought 10 tandems, a brand-new paved road, and zoning got involved, and I want to thank zoning for that. Week later, they were there Saturday, this past Saturday, trying to take dirt out after they spread it. And it's like the neighbors complained, the neighbor called me, and I live close by, and I agree. But we don't have any ordinance that says changing grade, adding fill up against an existing home, especially like where our mayor lives. If someone puts 10 tandems of fill in, it's going to be a foot higher than what an existing property is. So we just need to have something that we can give our zoning and help them police and patrol. Because I drive by and I constantly send them, here's another guy filling in, happened on Prineville Road, guy buried trees. I mean, it's going on and on every day. But we just need to, I think we need an ordinance or amend an ordinance that could help us, our zoning. I had the pleasure this week to go see Lisa Robinson, one of our first female police officers, 1995 she started. She was with us for 27 years, retiring as a captain. It was to watch the police officers give her that respect and help along the lines. I mean, she worked from the bottom all the way up to captain. She was part of the DARE program that my children went through when she was doing that. And she's just a Jamesburg resident. She, a dedicated employee, did a really good job. And I just want to shout out to Lisa Robinson and say thank you for your services to Monroe and just a class act. And she did a really good job for us as a police officer, and I just want to say thank you. And on the 4th of July, 5 o'clock at Thompson Park, we'll have the fireworks along, so everybody just be safe with fireworks and enjoy. It's always better watching than doing. The fireworks is my motto on that. But and I also wanted to congratulate, even though I'm a Ranger fan, I wanted to congratulate Colorado, and I know our mayor is dear to his heart that's his team, and they got the cup. So I want to say congratulations to Colorado and congratulations, Mayor, you got one. So there you go. That's it.
Councilwoman, did I see that you needed to ask
Yeah,
something? And we can move along, please, folks.
I think I mentioned it, Mark, that I travel Prospect Plains every day and go over that railroad track.
It's bad.
So I guess it's bad. I've been moaning for over a year. So I guess it isn't a holdup of what the problem is, getting the land acquisition or what? Is that it?
Correct. We're in the process of acquiring the necessary land that's needed to do the widening and the road improvements in that area.
But it's moving.
It's moving.
Yes.
Never as
Thank you.
quickly as we
Thank
all
you.
would like.
Thank
You're
you.
most welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Council Vice President Van Zura.
Thank you, Madam President.
My pleasure.
A lot of the things I was going to mention tonight have already been mentioned by one or more of the other council members, but I'll just hit on them briefly. Always nice this time of year in June when we have our high school graduates. Congratulations to our White Councilwoman who had a son graduate and all the other graduates in town. I also happened to stop at the Syndicate film ribbon cutting yesterday, tying that in with the graduation. The great thing about that was that at least one or both of our people, young people too, that are maybe about, I'm going to say 25, 26, 27 years old, were the people that started that business. So people that came through town, graduated Monroe High, and now they started and are offering jobs and they're training people to actually be able to go out and get involved in the film industry. So that was just a wonderful little thing, and, you know, I think we all enjoyed the opportunity yesterday to get over there. Also want to do the shout out to Captain Robinson, 27 years. Charlie said it, need we say more? She was a great employee for the town. Flag Day, also went over to that. That was at the Jamesburg Elks, and one of the things I liked, in addition to what everybody else has already said about the flag, is that it was one of those things where it was almost like, as Monroe people, we were welcomed over in Jamesburg. So it was sort of our sister town, if you will, and they welcomed us just as if we were Jamesburg residents, and it was a nice thing to see, and everybody had a good sense. Not in any particular order, I do want to compliment the administration on the BFI landfill work, and it's great to see it going, and I think I called up either Alan or Joe to tell them I was driving through the neighborhood, and these pipes, they're all there, they're working, the guys were really moving pretty promptly, and it looks like they're moving forward at a pretty good pace, so that's good to see, and hopefully we can get it completed soon and give those people in that neighborhood the relief that they really, really need. Rec Advisory Committee, I'm on the Rec Advisory Committee. We're now at a point where a lot of the programs for the year are sort of winding down. The softball, the baseball, most of those things are starting to come toward an end, but we have summer camps this year, which is something we did not have last year due to COVID. And that's a great thing, because not only does it give stuff for the younger children to do and places to go, keep them occupied. I mean, a lot of parents, especially in two working households, where both the mother and the father work, it's a place where they know that their kids are going to be safe. And it also gives jobs to people around here, including a lot of our older students and stuff. So I think that's a good program that's been going on for years, and it's nice to see it kind of back on track this year. I know this was also mentioned, but first time ever, we will be having a farmer's market in Monroe. And I just think that's a great little thing. It's not, just, I don't know, maybe it's a personal thing, but I give the mayor and the administration credit for putting it together, and I think we owe a lot of credit to the people at the library who helped do a lot of the organization for that. So every Thursday, it's going to be every Thursday at the library parking lot. If you get a chance, go over. And it's mostly local type people that are coming, from what I understand. I don't know that they're all specifically Monroe. And it's not just going to be food items. There'll be a couple of different other types of crafts there. Since we haven't had the first one, I can't tell you exactly what, but if you go, maybe you can find something that'll be enjoyable. I also think it's great that this year we are back on track for our 4th of July fireworks, which is something that everybody looked forward to over the last bunch of years. Last year we had COVID, so we had to move it to around Labor Day. But this year it's back on the 4th of July, which is also a great thing. I did want to mention also, I just wanted to throw out there, June was Pride Month for our LGBTQ community. Acknowledge that. I also wanted to acknowledge the Juneteenth, which was a celebration, which I don't know if people know too well, but it's now a national holiday in addition to being a state holiday. And it's something that we really, I would imagine half the people still don't know what it stands for. It was for people that, slaves that were, I think, in Texas, that even after the Emancipation Proclamation, did not know about it, and they were still enslaved for like an extra couple of years before they were able to be freed. So is a celebration of a very important event. I'm a little bit distressed about the fact that as to whether or not it's even going to be able to be taught in schools around our country, but nevertheless, it is worth celebrating. I just Wanted to mention also, as I've done at the last 3 meetings, there is a war going on in Ukraine. I saw on the news today that a Russian missile apparently hit a shopping mall where there were 1,000 people or so inside. We don't even have any idea how many of those people might have survived, but we need to keep those people in our thoughts, and I would support anything that we could do to help that country the way they're fighting. A couple of other things happen on the national level, but I've been told if I can't say anything nice to not say anything at all, and I am extremely distressed over the actions of the United States Supreme Court. As a person who's been an attorney for over 40 years, I came in with nothing but respect for the law. Every time I go to court, whether it be Superior Court in New Brunswick, a municipal court, I always feel like I get a fair chance. You know, sometimes you feel like, well, the judge may know the people down in a different county, but I still always feel like I get a fair chance. And now what bothers me most about this is not just the ruling, but the fact that I feel that the United States Supreme Court is now politicized, and to the point where people don't feel that the decision was based on the law. We call that stare decisis. This is what the law is. This is how it developed over these many years. And now it was a political decision, and that's very bothersome. If it goes forward and the Democrats start to do other things, it's going to be further politicized. And that's not the way it should be. So just the fact that that happened bothers me. But we have a lot of good things in our town. Let's go out, let's enjoy the 4th, let's be thankful for our graduates, and let's move forward in town. So thank you all.
Thank
Appreciate
you. Very briefly, Mr. Stroin, Mr. Mayor, I remember when we stood on top of that grass, that dirt hill around on Lonnie Street, and walked up that hill, and I remember the conversations and the work that everyone did. Many of us were there, so I am delighted to see that this is all moving forward now, and very much following the plans that were developed, that this is what we would do, and it makes me proud that we care so much for our residents, and we will do what we need to do. I am going to ask the mayor if he would like to give us his report, please.
Thank you, Council President. It is officially summertime, and you will receive a very light and summary type of report from me. We talked about some heavy issues, but yes, thank you, Councilman DePiero. My Colorado Avalanche won the Stanley Cup. Has nothing to do with Monroe, but you know what? It makes me happy as a longtime Avalanche fan, and then before that, Quebec Nordique fan. It's always happy it's always happy when your team wins at the highest level. So, thank you for the well wishes. Time to celebrate the seniors in Monroe Township. And what seniors am I talking about? The class of 2022 from our high school. So, obviously, Councilwoman Siegel, congratulations on getting the last one out. So that's always a great accomplishment. But just to see another set of wonderful citizens, Monroe citizens, going out in the world. It's life. It's what we all wish for, the goodness for those going on to college or whatever careers that wait from them. I wish nothing but success. So I do like to talk about all the good things in Monroe, right? And I always talk about our crown jewels, our buildings, and then I always kind of segue back. Well, I said it's more than just the buildings, the people that work there. Well, I'm going back to the building part, okay?
Go right ahead.
I'm just very happy to see the expansion of our police station. You know, we want the best for our police. It has grown over the years, but the building, you know, is something that it's just dated. It's time for an upgrade. It's time for expansion, and I'm very happy to see that on the agenda to move forward for that 4,500 square foot addition. I just think it's an asset to the community. Speaking of an asset, we certainly expect the finishing of the special needs playground this month over by our soccer complex on Prospect Plains Road. I do want to especially thank the county for the grant, the 166K grant that helped that. I did get to see some pictures. They're going to be putting the finishing touches up soon, and please keep an eye out for an official opening ceremony for a great asset to the community. As was mentioned about the mayor's wellness, kind of an oxymoron, was a little under the weather. I was not able to attend the yoga event, and I was preparing for it, limbering up, but unfortunately COVID finally got me. So I was not able to attend the yoga event, but I do understand it was well attended, and especially the parent-child version of the yoga. I don't know. I do know they're going to be doing a chair yoga. I've heard, there's this hot yoga with goats. I don't think we'll expand it to that capacity, but obviously we want to just keep going with the Mayor's Wellness Campaign. And just keep an eye out for some future events. Certainly want to congratulate the Om Shri Balaji opening ceremony the other day. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend, but I know we've worked hand in hand with the particulars of the temple. It's, again, an asset to the community. And I'm sure once it's opened up to the public for more for tours, I'm sure they'll be happy to accommodate. Want to congratulate the young men and women at the Syndicate Productions, where we had the ribbon cutting ceremony. It was just wonderful to be there. And again, we talk about our senior class, and that's they're a product of our school system as well, and it was just wonderful to see some of those young men and women who went through our high school, our school system, make it big, make it good. We're here to support them, and try to whatever we can do to help with their success. We're certainly there for that. I do want to mention about how I had reached out to our governors and our legislators regarding the Anchor Property Tax Relief. Anchor is an acronym for Affordable New Jersey Communities for Homeowners and Renters. Again, we always look for affordability. We always look for that extra dollar that we could perhaps get back from the state. If agreed upon, if approved, the Anchor would be a $1,500 property tax credit for those making less than $150K, or $1,000 property tax credit for those making less than $250. So I hope that this passes. Anything that we can get back to the state, to any of our residents, to make it more affordable here in Monroe Township, certainly that's something I'm pushing for. Again, which was mentioned, very excited about the farmers market, excited about July 4th. Again, just excitement.
He's a happy
You
man.
hear the theme here?
Yeah.
Again, another exciting day today, first day of camp for our youngsters. Always a lot of fun, and I'm sure all the parents are always happy to at least get a little more quiet time that they can get at their household. And again, I think we run a top-notch rec program. I do want to say thank you to Lisa Robinson. I did communicate with her on her last day as well. Again, just an asset to the community. Sorry to see her to go. A long-time police employee who's just provided just the outstanding service that we all recognize and need here in Monroe Township. So I do want to say thank you to Lisa. And finally, I just want to finish up. Excuse me for a second here.
Oh, your water.
Thank you. On June 11th, an amazing thing happened here in Monroe Township. A combination of local citizens, police, EMS, and paramedics saved somebody's life. There was a gentleman eating at a local restaurant in town when he experienced sudden cardiac arrest. It just so happened, you'll like this, Council President, there was a nurse in the restaurant. Registered nurse Erica Sapphire immediately started CPR and activated the emergency response system. Officer Riker from the Monroe Township Police arrived on the scene and applied an AED. That's that wonderful box that you put the number, put it on there, and it gives you a shock. The shock was delivered to the patient. CPR was continued by the registered nurse and Officer Riker for approximately another minute. The patient then regained a pulse and began breathing on his own. Our EMS supervisor, Hayes, EMTs Arute and Bond, as well as our police officers, Officers Bell and LaFeda, and our paramedics from the Robert Wood Johnson site here, right down the road, arrived on the scene and rendered post-cardiac arrest care for the patient. The patient was ultimately transported to the Regional Cardiac Center for further treatment. The patient had a full neurological sorry about that.
exam.
You got it.
Thanks.
Recovery and was alert and talking upon arrival at the hospital. So a job well done by all. Again, just thank you so much to those all involved on June 11th to help that one gentleman in cardiac arrest continue living his life.
Save a life, you save a generation.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We now move to the public comment portion of our meeting. I would remind you that it is 5 minutes per speaker. I need a motion to open the public comment section, please.
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second on that?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed? Mr. Gunkelman, you join us again.
Do you need my address again?
I do, because
Okay,
it's the
it's
record
fine.
who needs it.
George
I know where
Gunkelman,
you
5
live, I
Kelly
know your
Court.
name, but we need the record.
Thank you, Council President. I briefly just wanted to piggyback onto something that we talked about a little bit earlier, and specifically it was about the Water and Sewer Authority. And the administrator, gave a brief explanation about why some places do it different from what we do and why we do what we do. I think it's extremely important. It's something we would be much the worse off for if we lost it. Any temptation to cash in on the sale should be avoided as long as we possibly can. I coincidentally had a couple of experiences in my work life working in areas that were served by utility authorities that were commercialized. And twice I was in a situation where I was in the transition where I started with the local authority and then it was transferred over to the commercial entity. In both cases, I witnessed that they lost some of their key people, not through retirement because of age or anything, just because of the situation that they found themselves in. And the whole interaction went from being competent and professional to being disorganized and sloppy, and accompanied, as the administrator said, by just what appeared to be random rate increases across the board for combination of fees and other things. So let's hang on to what we have. It's very much worth keeping. It's not always obvious now that it's combined with municipal stuff, the comings and goings of money and, who's the cash cow and who's the cashie. But it's very important, and I think we are well served. I've had, coincidentally, a number of interactions just as a typical resident, and they've all been good. They've all been professional, and you're interacting people that make you proud that you're dealing with them and they're township people because of how they treat us. Anyway, I just wanted to make that point. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. And yet again, your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Lucille Panos, 1208 Stephen Lindero Plaza, Monroe. I too was at that Temple event because there's some very dear, good old friends that still invite me, and I was honored to be there and to still be considered a friend now that I'm out of the political arena. And I know some people say it's a building, but the beauty of that building and the meaning behind each architectural structure, whether it's for a goddess or this, they don't make them anymore. Now everything's glass and steel, but so there's a lot of history being put into that place. Regarding the BFI, I'm glad to see that some action is done. I'm curious about, is there a projected cost? And do we have like a reimbursement agreement in place yet with the company that started all this? That would be a question, I guess, for next time. Recycling. Those towns that don't use the municipal utility authorities, have you ever looked at doing that on your own? I mean, because there's some towns that have actually used the same company that the county used and got it cheaper over the years. As far as the water, I'm glad you guys are doing the utilities. Some of the other companies that were mentioned by somebody else actually made me shiver to know how they destroyed some towns financially. The Supreme Court made a number of decisions this week. One I'll be happy about is that you get to kneel on a football court. If you could kneel during the national anthem or any place else, you could kneel in prayer on a football court. That's what this country is built on. Freedom of religion, that's part of it anyway. Whether it's to build a mosque, a temple, or say a prayer, that's what the 4th of July is really all about. So I wish everybody a happy 4th of July and be safe.
You too. Thank you. Thank you, you too. Anyone else wishing to address us this evening? Again, your name and address for the record, please.
Elizabeth Fagan, 21 Woodcrest Circle, Monroe. First, Mayor, I'm sorry to hear that you had COVID, and I'm happy to see that you're feeling better. Second, the Middlesex County has a mosquito commission, and I wanted to just mention publicly that they are the most efficient government department I've ever seen, and so that's great. So my concerns, Lincoln Avenue, which is a dirt road, is being worked on by the company that is installing that big warehouse on Cranberry Road. I'd like to know what they're doing. It's not their property. I was at that meeting, and I'd like to know what they're doing back there. Second, ordinance violations. I have brought this up a couple times that I think ordinance violations should be recorded, even warnings. We should know which of these developers push the envelope because they know the ordinances that they're violating. They know they have 22 signs when they should have 2. And we need to keep track of who they are and be aware of them. And we should be profiting when they do break those ordinances. They're profiting off of taking our green space. Street sweeping, Mr. DePiero talked about it, and you talked about Jamesburg being friendly. If we're gonna street sweep, I'd love to see that sweeper stay down on the underpass of the railroad in Jamesburg. It's disgusting. Monroe residents use it just as much, if not more, than Jamesburg, and somebody needs to just suck it up and clean the damn place. It's disgusting. Glass everywhere, horrible. Okay, now, I used to be on a church board. I couldn't walk into that facility without someone coming up to me and going, you know what we need? You know what happened? You know this? I'm wondering why, for every meeting I have been at, not one council member except Mr. DePiero has received an email, a phone call or even had a resident discuss something with him. You go over your boards that you're on and everything's wonderful, but you can't tell me that not one person has tried to reach out to one of you. And you never bring it up, you don't respond, and you don't bring up the concerns here at the meeting. Now, Michelle, one of the residents last week, said that over by the firehouse, they're taking over what was supposed to be open space. Nobody even acknowledged her concern. Nobody said anything. She sat here, got up, thank you, goodbye. People such as yourself sat here and voted in to make something public space, and now you're undoing that. No matter if the reason is good or not, if a citizen brings that up to you, a citizen who's paying you, you should respond. Stop being rude. Stop not even making eye contact and just nodding your head. You're being employed by taxpayer money. Do you know that there are 417 homes for sale in Monroe? You take half of them and say those are people staying in Monroe, and you take half of that amount of the 200 and say, well, maybe those people died, or, uncircumstances or whatever. That still leaves us with 103 people leaving this town under your watch. Current residents that are paying for you to sit up here that are leaving Monroe. Why? Did you look into it? Do you care? You can't tell me no one has reached out to you. I know they have. I know they have. And you are not responding. And that is not what you are here for. You're here for us, the citizens. And you should be responding to us, and you should be mentioning our concerns at these meetings. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Does anyone else wish to address the council this evening? Seeing no one else wishes to address us this evening, I am going to ask for a motion to please close the public comment section. Motion,
moved.
please. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I would like to entertain a motion for adjournment, please. Someone do that.
Motion.
Thank you. May I have a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion is adjourned. Meeting is adjourned.
The time is 8:17.
Thank you very much, all of you, for coming this evening.